Welcome to the second video of this series on the new European AI legal framework. In the first video, we gave an overview of the definition of AI and of the risk-based approach that is adopted by the European Commission. In this video, we will examine more into detail the legal framework that is described for high-risk AI systems. We will specifically refer here to the provisions that are contained in Title 3 of the AI Act. So let's begin. The AI Act in Title 3, Chapter 2 sets 5 general requirements for high-risk AI systems. These requirements are high quality of data, traceability, transparency, human oversight, robustness, accuracy, and cybersecurity. A risk-based approach entails that high-risk AI systems can access the European market only if they comply to these requirements and if they possess an ex-ante conformity assessment. According to the EU, these requirements are possessed already by certain operators in the field, and they are consistent with other international recommendations and principles in the very same area. Chapter 3 of Title 3 establishes horizontal obligations on providers of high-risk AI systems, but also on users and other participants of the AI production and commerce chain, such as importers, distributors, and authorized representatives. Title 4 of the Act establishes specific transparency obligations for certain AI systems, for example, those that interact with humans, or those that are used to detect emotions or determine association with social categories based on biometric data. The purpose of this transparency obligation is to inform the user of what is happening in order to allow him or her to make informed choices or step back from a given situation. Let's have a look now at some specific articles. First of all, Article 9 establishes that high-risk systems need to be accompanied by a risk management system that should consist in a continuous process that is run throughout the entire life cycle of the system. And it then describes the steps that have to be followed by this risk management system. Article 10 focuses on data governance, particularly important because it establishes a bridge between this regulation and the one on data protection. First of all, it enumerates data governance and data management practices with regards to training, validation, and testing of data. Then, at paragraph 5, Article 10 establishes that the providers of high-risk AI systems can process special categories of data, of personal data, as referred to in Article 9 of GDPR, only when this is strictly necessary for the purposes of ensuring bias monitoring, detection, and correction. The processing of special categories of personal data always has to be subject to appropriate safeguards for the fundamental rights and freedoms of natural person, such as encryption, since anonymization might significantly affect the purpose pursued. Article 11 then establishes that technical documentation of high-risk AI system has to be drawn up before the system is placed into the market. The purpose of this documentation is to prove that the system complies with the requirements that are set by the Act. Article 12 then establishes that all high-risk AI systems need to be able to automatically record all the events that occur when they are operating. These skills are referred to as logging capabilities, and they're very important as they ensure traceability of the functioning of the AI system. Article 13 provides that high-risk AI systems shall be accompanied by instructions for use, and these instructions have to be transparent and need to include certain elements, such as the intended purpose or any known or foreseeable circumstance that may lead to risk to the health and safety of the user. Article 14 regards human oversight. The objective of human oversight is to prevent or minimize risks to health, safety, or fundamental rights connected with the use of a high-risk AI system. So all these systems have to be designed and developed in a way that they can be effectively overseen by natural persons during their use. But how should this requirement be implemented? For example, by allowing a human being to disregard, override, or reverse the output of the high-risk AI systems, or to be able to intervene on the operation or interrupt it with a stop button. Lastly, Article 15 deals with accuracy, robustness, and cybersecurity. So high-risk AI systems need to achieve a certain unspecified level of accuracy, and they shall be resilient with regards to errors, faults, and inconsistencies that may occur in the systems, both because of the interaction with natural persons, other systems, and because of the attempts by unauthorized third parties. As we mentioned, Chapter 3 sets the obligations of providers and users of high-risk AI systems and other parties. Now, we don't have enough time to go through all 14 articles today, but it should be noted that special importance is given to CE marking to indicate the conformity with the regulation as provided for by Article 49 of the Act. So providers of high-risk AI systems will have to establish a quality management system in order to ensure compliance with the regulation. They will have to make sure that their system undergoes a conformity assessment procedure and that at the end of the procedure, they will have to draw up an EU declaration of conformity as provided by Article 48. Only after these steps are completed, they will be able to affix the CE marking of conformity and put their products in the market. Article 26 sets the obligations of importers, where instead Article 27 sets the obligation of distributors. We won't examine all of these obligations today, but we will only make some short, significant remarks. So importers have the duty of making sure that the AI system has been subject to a conformity assessment procedure, that the provider has drawn up the necessary technical documentation, and that the system possesses the conformity marking and that is accompanied by the required documentation and instructions. Distributors are subject to the same duty. Finally, Article 29 sets the obligation of the users. And these include, for example, that they shall use a system in accordance with its instructions. This is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you will follow us for the next ones.